It's the final Sunday. It's the final afternoon day here at the Rogers Center of the 2010 schedule. Blue Jays looking for the three-game sweep against the Baltimore Orioles. Hello, everyone. Filling in for Buck Martinez, Sam Cosentino alongside Rance Mullinex. And Rance, you look at Jose Bautista and Vernon Wells, 82 home runs combined. That is the third most proficient home run duo in franchise history. But yesterday, they also showed us that they can do it in different ways.
They most certainly did. Jose Bautista was over 5 yesterday, but a great play in the fifth inning off the bat of Adam Jones, robbing him of extra bases and then getting up and doubling Wigington off of first base. Just a great defensive play. He did it with the leather yesterday afternoon. And then Ty Wigington in the ninth off of Scott Downs, a line drive deep to center field. Great over-the-shoulder running catch by Vernon Wells. So some great defense out of the center fielder and right fielder in yesterday's game.
Rance, something we've also talked about all season long is the starting rotation. And with Brandon Morrow being shut down, it's the big three. In early September, the Blue Jays decided to go to a six-man rotation, and at times giving their starters an extra 1 or 2 days rest really hasn't fared out all that well for the big three.
Well, it has not paid off for Markham, Romero, and Cecil. They have not performed very well. Starting pitchers have a very specific routine. Part of that routine is they start every fifth day. That's been disruptive, which no doubt has probably been much more psychological as opposed to physical.
Well, Rance, they may not exactly like it, but they understand it. And all three of them, to a man, say their arm feels good, which is a good sign at this time of the year moving into 2011. Sean Markham is 2-0 against the O's this season, and in 17 innings pitched, he's walked just 3 and struck out 16. Markham looks to equal a career high in wins next against Baltimore. One of the best stories in all of baseball this year is Jose Bautista. He's loving life, and why wouldn't you? 52 home runs, 118 RBI for Bautista.
Well, Jose Bautista is most certainly excited about playing here this afternoon. And why wouldn't you be?
Blue Jays have hit 140 home runs here at home, and that has been the calling card all season long. 4 more yesterday. The Baltimore Orioles 61-93 sit 5th in the American League East. Roberts, Markakis, and Wigginton the top 3. This series, Nick Markakis 4 for 9 with a couple driven in. Wigginton, Scott, and PA. And then you move down the order. Adam Jones. Matt Wieters gets his first start of the series. So too does Robert Andino. Cesar Asturis rounds it out at shortstop, hitting 9th.
And they will face Sean Markham, who has dominated this Orioles lineup this season. He last pitched against the Orioles on July 18th at Camden Yards. He won that game 10-1, excuse me. His overall record 12-8, won 181 in the 3rd innings of work, 154 strikeouts. And he'll be after defensively this afternoon. It'll be in the outfield for the Toronto Blue Jays. Snyder, Wells, and Bautista. Encarnacion at 3rd. McDonald gets the short start at short here this afternoon. Hill at 2nd. Overbay at 1st. Buck will do the catching, and Sean Markham the pitching this afternoon.
Markham looking to tie a career high with his 13th win here this afternoon. The Blue Jays have taken the first 2 games of this series and have absolutely dominated the Orioles, having won 14 straight here against them at the Rogers Center and 22 of the last 24. Roberts leads it off. Switch hitting second baseman is dealt a strike. Markham with his 30th start of the season. That is a career high that he has built on. Has twice made 25 starts in a season, going back to the 2007 when he was 12-6, and made 25 starts in 2008. But here with start number 30, and he has looked particularly good all season long. When you talk about him coming back from Tommy John surgery and then dealing with some issues last year, some back issues in July where he had to be shut down again. Roberts has yet to swing the bat, and the count is 2-2.
Well, Roberts typically in his first at bat, oftentimes he will try to work the count, see a number of pitches. Is a very, very good leadoff hitter and someone who really sets the tone for this offense.
Markham deals the 2-2, and this is just low and away.
More than anyone else since his return from the disabled list, aside from some other factors, pitching being, of course, number one. The fact that Roberts is back leading off for this ball club with his ability to make things happen has been a big plus.
But here he strikes out, and Markham, who has done that a lot against Baltimore in his 3 starts this year, gets the inning started off beating Roberts.
You get a little conscious of everything away, and especially that changeup, and you get beat with the fastball.
When you look at Nick Markakis, all the success he has had against Markham in his career, 12 of 26 lifetime, and including the ability to hit the ball out of the park here in his 5-game hit streak. And we've seen a lot of Markakis, 4 for 9 in this series.
Well, Nick Markakis, his strength is out over the plate away from him. That's where he prefers the fastball. And he does typically a nice job of staying off of that changeup. And when if you can do that, you can force Sean Markham to throw you a fastball, and you can take advantage of it. That last pitch, trying to go inside, maybe change the pattern on Markakis just a little bit.
Pitch slapped foul to the left side. According to Sean Markham, Nick Markakis is the greatest player to ever play the game with all the success he's had against them.
.462 with 5 home runs. But throughout this series, and of course he faced Brett Cecil on Friday night, Romero yesterday afternoon, everything that's been away from him, he's hit hard.
And there it is. It's away from him again. And although he breaks the bat, it's a line out to Edwin Encarnacion.
Well, the scouting report brought to you by TD. Banking can be this comfortable. Sean Markham not overpowering. A fastball with some pretty good sink. He will cut it from time to time. Occasional curveball, but his go-to pitch, no doubt, is the changeup. And a key for him is with the fastball also glove side command, which in this case would be to the outside corner to Wigginton. And there it is, right on that outside corner.
Ty Wigginton heavily involved in yesterday's game. He homered his 22nd of the year and was the victim of a great defensive play by Vernon Wells in the 9th inning. With 2 out in the frame, he hit a ball and a dart straight over the head of Wells, and toughest play for any center fielder, any outfielder for that matter, was made by Wells in one of the finest catches we've seen all year.
3-time Gold Glove winner Vernon Wells may have lost a step, but still with excellent reads, jumps, and great routes to the ball.
After that, Markham offering a little high in the zone, and the count is even at 2-2. Fan Appreciation Day here at the Rogers Center, looking to continue their dominance over Baltimore. 2-2 pitch. And for the second time in this inning, the count moves full. Wigginton gets the start over at first base today for Buck Showalter. We've seen him at third base in the first 2 games of this series. Popped high and out of play into the seats. For Wigginton, really started his career as a guy who could play all over the place. Really all 4 infield positions. But for the latter stages of his career here, has found himself mostly at the corners. 3-2 from Markham, and that misses low, and Wigginton draws the 2-out walk.
Designated hitter number 30, Luke Stuck.
Good at bat by Ty Wigginton. Was able to lay off a couple of good changeups. That last pitch was a changeup just down and out of the zone to draw the walk.
That brings Luke Scott to the plate. Scott was a pinch hitter in the top of the 9th yesterday and hit a hard ground ball to second base that got through the wickets of Aaron Hill. Next hitter, Markakis, hit into a 1-6-3 double play initiated by Scott Downs, and that really helped pick Hill up after having made that error. We've only seen Scott as a pinch hitter in each of the first 2 games, but getting the start in the cleanup spot as the designated hitter here this afternoon. Not much of a lead for Wigginton at first, and Markham misses away.
Well, Luke Scott, you don't hear a lot about him, but a good solid hitter, 285, and he does have very, very good power. He has a chance, 27 home runs, a very good chance if he can finish strong to finish with 30 this year. That's a pretty good high water mark.
The 3rd time in his big league career in which he has surpassed the 20 home run plateau. Markham now finding his comfort spot on the mound. Scott steps in and waits the 1-2. Markham deals, takes something off, and Scott is able to lay off.
Well, if you're Sean Markham here this afternoon, especially with these left-handed hitters, maybe a little bit more so than the right-handed hitters, on occasion you pitch inside a little bit with the fastball to try to speed him up a little bit, make him conscious of that pitch, and make that changeup a little more effective.
And there it is. Markham gets Scott. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Sean Markham. Jose Bautista and the Blue Jays set to bat here in the bottom of the first. Overbay and Buck. Adam Lynn gets the DH duties in the 7th spot. John McDonald gets his first start since the 15th of September, in which he played short against the New York Yankees. Rick Vandenherk is the starter for Baltimore and deals strike 1 to Snyder. Snyder hit his 11th home run of the season yesterday.
4.61 ERA, no wins, no losses in 8 games. Vandenherk last faced the Jays in Baltimore. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up just 1 earned run. That was a solo shot to Edwin Encarnacion, a young man that is out of options. And most certainly they're going to take a look at him here in September, see if maybe there's a future for him with the ball club next year.
That game September 13th when Brian Mattis was the starter. He was hit by a line shot, second batter of the game, and Junel Escobar essentially knocked him out of the game. Vandenherk came in long relief. And so Vandenherk, who is out of options, meaning that the Orioles are going to have to take a good long look at him, determine whether or not he'll have a spot on the big league roster going to spring training next year.
Well, and that out of options simply means that you cannot option him back to AAA, so you're going to have to make a decision on him. Either you take him to spring training next year on the major league roster with a chance to stick with the club, or you release him and let him try to find a job somewhere else.
It's kind of a good thing, bad thing scenario for anybody put in that situation, because if you go to spring training, you make the team, obviously that's the good portion of it, but a lot of times players in that situation will go to spring training, get released near the end of spring, and have trouble finding a job. Snyder's trying to steal on the first pitch. The tag is applied, but it's late. And after a leadoff walk, Snyder moves himself into scoring position.
Well, Vandenberg not particularly quick to the plate, and again, I think oftentimes ball clubs underestimate the speed of Travis Snyder. Pretty good jump, and just in before the tag at second base.
Snyder continues to work on that speed. A big off-season program at his home in Seattle this past off-season. Also goes down to Arizona to do some work with some former teammates. Quick visit to the mound by Matt Wieters. Snyder really getting the opportunity to try and find that groove here towards the end of the year. Vandenherk behind Hill, 2-0. Aaron Hill started the season as the Blue Jays' #2 hitter. But when things didn't work out, he was moved down in the order. And here with Junel Escobar getting the day off, Hill vaulted back up into that 2-hole. His 61st start hitting out of the 2 slot. Big cut there from Hill.
Aaron Hill with his 25th home run yesterday. Just missed another one. Drove a ball all the way to the wall in left field.
Vandenhurst, just the second big league starter born in the Netherlands. Bert Blyleven being the other. Big cut from Hill there. And down on the swing, and he goes.
Now this is more of a result of pitch location. The ball is definitely up and in. It is not a strike. But Aaron Hill unable to lay off of it.
And this guy has captured the hearts of all Toronto fans and baseball friends really across North America with his home run hitting prowess here this year. 52 home runs for Jose Bautista. Vandenhurst checks Snyder and deals in.
Seen 9 home runs this month, 15 RBIs in his last 17 games, so he's been on a tear. But that's what he's done so well the entire season, is he's consistently at bat after at bat. He has forced pitchers to have to get him out in the strike zone.
Vandenhurst delivers, and Bautista fouls it straight back.
Now, since the All-Star break, Bautista with 28, Pujols second with 20. And it is really astounding when you think about some of the power hitters around baseball, how much Jose Bautista has out-homered some of the best in the game over the past several years.
This one hit to left field. It's blown back in by the wind. PA picks it up. Snyder goes back to tag, but nothing further there, and there's 2 down in the inning.
Rick Vandenhurst, young man with a very good arm, hit it up the plate at times 95 miles an hour, along with a slider and an occasional change. He has had control issues, but a very, very good arm. That's the reason the Orioles are taking a look at him. Anytime you have an arm such as the type that Rick Vandenhurst possesses, you definitely don't want to give up on it too early.
Picked up from the Florida Marlins at this year's trade deadline. Lefty Will Oman going the other way in that deal.
He is making his first start for the Orioles here this afternoon. For his career, he has 32 starts, number 33 today. And over those 32 starts, he is 8-9 with a 5.92 ERA.
With all of those starts coming in the National League. What's interesting about Vandenhurst is that he has spent time in Albuquerque with Florida's AAA team and with Norfolk, the AAA team here for Baltimore, and has been a starter there. But all of his big league time this year has come in relief. Bill Welke is the home plate umpire. Wells in disagreement with that latest strike call. Both Welke brothers on this umpiring crew. Brother Tim over at second this afternoon. Vernon Wells, another 30 home run season, looking to add to that. Pitch from Vandenhurst misses away. For Wells, he becomes just the 3rd Blue Jay to have 3 30 or more home run seasons. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Wells reaches it out, drops this ball into center field. Travis Snyder getting the wave. Adam Jones with the throw. It'll be left to go through and late. So Vernon Wells with a 2-strike, 2-out RBI single up the middle gives the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead.
Well, a base on balls, stolen base by Travis Snyder, and Wells able to cash him in. He hits a very good pitch, a breaking ball out in a good spot, but he stays with it off the end of the bat, flips it into center field, and of course, again, Snyder, who runs well, able to score. And Adam Jones, with a much stronger arm than you typically see in center field, made it fairly close.
A stolen base for Snyder proves to be proof positive for the Blue Jays here to get them on the board in inning number 1. Wells was leaning and he quickly changes course of direction to get back into first safely. Wells has stolen 5, but he has been caught 4 times this year. Overbay fouls it straight back.
Yeah, that's something that in the future the Jays are going to need to correct. They need to get that typical leadoff type hitter who can steal 40, maybe even 50 bases and create some things with his legs.
Overbay just misses again, and that's an element that they've tried to acquire this year. Wayne Wise, Fred Lewis, when he was picked up from San Francisco, added that element and will most likely end the season as the team's stolen base leader with 17, although he is away from the team now, getting bunion surgery, and will miss the rest of the season. Wells extends the lead a little bit, not going anywhere, and Overbay looks at a ball high.
Well, speed does just more than steal bases. It goes first to third. It comes all the way around from first base on extra base hits. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense. It is a distraction to the pitcher, which sometimes leads to a mistake to a hitter.
Vandenhart concerned and checks once again. Lyle Overbay, the hero in yesterday's game, the Blue Jays' 5th walk-off win of the season, with Overbay's leadoff home run in the bottom of the 11th off Mark Hendrickson. That put him at an even 20.
Here's the walk-off yesterday over the Orioles bullpen and right field, and no doubter. You see, he left that helmet on. Says you're going to have to pound. You're not going to get to pound me on the top of the head.
Careful, guys. We don't need anyone to blow a tire there, as we saw earlier this year with Kendry Morales of the LA Angels. In a walk-off win, blew a tire and ended his season. Too much celebration.
I'm surprised more hitters don't leave their helmet on like Overbay did yesterday. You know you're going to get pummeled. Keep that protection.
2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. But the Blue Jays able to get on the board thanks to Vernon Wells' 2-out RBI single, 1-0 Toronto through 1. Plenty of signs, of course, those thanking all the players, and Cito Gaston, who will manage for the final time here at the Rogers Centre Wednesday night. So general appreciation for all the support the fans have given the Blue Jays this year, and it's been a resurgence of sorts for this franchise. Rance, the best way for me to get an indication of that is the people you talk to away from the ballpark. Well, it's a fun team to watch. They've been exciting. We like to see the long ball, and we haven't really seen that kind of excitement for a Blue Jays team in some time.
No, we haven't. This has been a very exciting ball club to watch, and it's really been interesting to watch this young pitching staff develop and come along as well.
Adam Jones, or Felix Pie rather, grounds out to Aaron Hill. The final home game of the season comes your way Wednesday night. The New York Yankees are in town, and it is Thank You Cito night. The first 35,000 fans will receive a commemorative ticket honoring Cito's career with the Blue Jays. Some of the former greats will be here, including Joe Carter, Pat Hankin. Saw Devon White at the hotel here yesterday to thank Cito for the 2 World Series and the 4 championships that he has won throughout his managerial career. And interesting to see how Dave Perkins, who writes for the Toronto Star, who doubles as the official scorer here at times for the Blue Jays, feels that Cito Gaston's managerial career is definitely Hall of Fame worthy. Pitch to Jones, and it's fouled off.
You know, Sam, you were talking about some of the comments you get away from the ballpark. As of late, I often get asked, who do you think may be the manager in the future, and who are some of the players you think they may go get, or who they may keep, who may not be back. So people are interested in following what's going on with the organization.
0-2 to Jones, and he's able to slice it through the right side for a base hit. Adam Jones continues to swing a hot bat here in September. Coming into play today, hitting .323 this month, and he adds to that total with a base hit to right. Markham threw a first pitch strike to each of the 4 hitters he faced in inning number 1. Our first look at Matt Wieters here this series. Highly touted prospect, selected 5th overall in the 2007 draft out of Georgia Tech. Burst onto the scene as a rookie last year, and has said this year has really been quite a learning experience for him. From Markham misses away, and Wieters talks about the pressures of being a switch hitter, handling a pitching staff, worrying about the sophomore jinx thing, and of course the rigors of playing on a team with another losing season. And all of those pressures have combined to make this a trying year for Matt Wieters.
And talking with Jim Palmer before the game today, he mentioned that Matt Wieters, he feels like some of his problems have come from the fact that he's had to catch this pitching staff, learn how to work with the staff and be a leader behind the plate, and it's been a distraction to him in terms of offense. And he came to the big leagues with a lot of promise as a hitter, as an offensive catcher. There's Jim Palmer, Hall of Famer.
He knows a little thing or two about the pitcher-catcher relationship. It was Wieters who in his very first professional game hit 2 home runs, and the expectations started to pile on from there.
You know, for a young player, sometimes it almost seems, especially if you have if there are high expectations, you get off to a quick start, come in and do something spectacular like hit a home run or 2 in a ball game, and maybe for the first month you're in the big leagues hit .350, because at some point the league's going to adjust and you're going to have to do that.
Jones on his way, swing and a miss. The throw down from Buck is wide. It gets into the outfield, and now Jones will make his way to third. So Wieters strikes out. It'll be a stolen base for Jones, and an error on the catcher John Buck to allow Jones to advance to third.
A swinging strike, and I don't know if that bat was a little bit of a distraction, the follow through by Wieters for Buck, but the throw is definitely wide, and McDonald not able to corral it, and it hits off the end of his glove and skips past Aaron Hill. I believe if John McDonald doesn't get leather on it, Hill's going to be able to keep it in the infield.
Hit in the air, and it's picked there by Jose Bautista. The long throw is laid, and Jones scores. So the sac fly allows Jones to score.
And it took this, excuse me, Sam, it took the speed of Jones to score. A tremendous arm. And you really get a chance to look at it. He had to fight the sun just a little bit, did Bautista, but still got himself with everything behind that throw. That's great technique. Just a little too much speed off of third base.
So a little speed, just as the Blue Jays utilized in the bottom of the first to get Baltimore on the board and tie this game. Robert Andino making his 9th start in the last 11 here for Baltimore. And with Andino, you talked about Rick Vandenherk being a guy out of options. Andino finds himself in that same situation. So Baltimore here in the latter stages of September really giving him a good long look. Hit hard and foul down the left side by Andino.
Well, this is his 10th game that he's played in. Just 37 at bats coming into the ball game this afternoon. So really hasn't had an opportunity to show what he's capable of here at the major league level with the Orioles. But getting an opportunity here in September.
And he gets caught looking. So Sean Markham able to strike out Andino to end the frame. But the Orioles still able to put one on the board. Good pitch down and away. We're tied at 1. Sharp Aquos products, including a new HD Quadron TV and Blu-ray player. Enter online at hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp Aquos with Quadron technology. You have to see it to see it. John Buck leads it off for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the second inning. We are tied at 1. Rick Vandenherk out for his second inning of work. He threw 26 pitches in the first. A leadoff walk to Travis Snyder, a stolen base, and an RBI single by Vernon Wells put the Blue Jays on the board. Vandenherk, an interesting story in that He signed as a 17-year-old with Florida. Grew up in the Netherlands and moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida when he was 16 years old as a catcher.
Well, you can see why somebody would put him behind the plate. Outstanding arm. If there's anything that stands out a little bit this afternoon, it looks like the fastball doesn't have much run to it, and the slider doesn't have a lot of depth. And what I mean by depth is it doesn't have that good downward tilt to it. It seems to be, for the most part, at least so far this afternoon, a little flat.
3-2 pitch to Buck. And fouled straight back. September 13th, it was Vandenhurst coming in relief.
Did a very nice job, 5 1/3. He gave up 2 hits. I mentioned earlier, just the one run, that was a solo shot by Edwin Encarnacion. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 3, so a nice outing for him the last time that he did face the Jays.
Ball in the dirt, and John Buck draws a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
That has been a problem for him. That's the 2nd walk here in the early going, is the control issues. We pointed that out also. Sometimes you get a 6'6", tall, lanky body, and sometimes that the last thing that comes for a young pitcher is the control.
Adam Lind hitting .333 over his last 5 games, with fouls this one off down the left field line, third base line rather. John Buck taking a good long look at Brian Butterfield. Each of the first 2 innings, Vandenhurst has started the Blue Jays off issuing the leadoff walk. He tries to get behind the back with it. Instead, it goes off his glove, and now Lind will be safe at first.
Well, it's a tough break for Vandenhurst. If he doesn't try to backhand this ball, hit off the bat, you can see the shortstop where he was positioned was going to have an easy play. But because of the change of direction, Izturis cannot react, and by the time he gets over to the ball, no chance at all to throw out Lind. Well, that's sometimes, it's just a reaction play, and you don't have time to really think about it. But if you take a look once in a while and look where the defensive positioning is of the middle infielders, sometimes you can help yourself out as a pitcher.
It's ruled a base hit, and now the Blue Jays have 2 aboard with nobody out. Edwin Encarnacion, who homered in that 5 1/3 innings against Vandenhurst on the 13th of September, but just 5 for 33 since coming off the disabled list. Pickoff play goes off the glove of the second baseman Roberts. John Buck will advance to 3rd. Adam Lind to 2nd. And a fortunate break for the Blue Jays to move 2 runners into scoring position without having to do anything with the bat.
And a play that's difficult to understand. You don't have any speed off of second base at all, so no threat to run. You've got a hitter at the plate that is not a hit and run guy. They're not going to ask him to bunt at this point in the game, so why be distracted and run the risk of an error such as just occurred? It just doesn't make any sense. Not a smart play.
Pitch from Vandenhurst misses away. So Encarnacion with a chance to do a little damage here. Hit his 16th home run of the season yesterday to go along with 40 runs batted in. Pitch in.
Although it ended up a wide throw by Vandenhurst, it's still, what led to it was just a poor decision in terms of let's put this play on. There's just really no need to right there at that point.
Well, a good spot for the Blue Jays, who, despite having won the last 3 games, are hitting just 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position over that frame. The old double hit for Encarnacion.
Well, he had a big hit in yesterday's ball game. This tied the game up after the Orioles had taken the lead. The bottom of that frame, Encarnacion with a long drive tied it right back up.
Two hit to the left side. Buck freezes. Third baseman Andino goes across the diamond, and Encarnacion is the first out of the inning.
Well, clearly not going on contact with nobody out, and the ball hits sharp to the third baseman Andino. John Buck with a wise decision to not try and score.
John McDonald's value has come through time and time again throughout the course of this season, having made starts in left field, second base, short, and third. This afternoon, he gets the start at short, hitting ninth in place of Janelle Escobar.
And he's done a nice job with the bat when he's had the opportunity to play. 252, 6 home runs, 19 RBIs. I think the fact that he's been encouraged by Dwayne Murphy to look for something to drive and don't try to serve the ball to right field. Go ahead and get it out there and pull the ball, hit it hard. And it's John McDonald's had his fair share of success when he's had the opportunity to play.
One fouled off, and for McDonald, you have to give Dwayne Murphy a lot of credit, because instead of looking at body type and saying, hey, this guy should be a punch and Judy, a slap type hitter, hey, let's try and uncork some of that power. You're here at the big league level. You have been for a long time. Why don't you start working on trying to pull the ball? And it started late last year. He started to see some results, and with some of the playing time he's able to have received this year, he's continued on that path and hit the ball extremely well. 1-2. Fouled in foul territory. Wigginton over and just beyond the TD Canada Trust comfort zone seats. It sails foul, so McDonald still has life.
John McDonald, for a number of years, he tried to hit everything to right field and oftentimes end up jamming himself a little bit. But that's changed.
Little different approach here with 2 strikes as Vandenhert sets. Hit hard to left field. PA is back. John Buck is tagging. PA with the throw. And Dino won't cut it off. And John McDonald gets the job done as Buck slides home safely with the Blue Jays' second run of the game.
Well, a nice job by John McDonald after falling behind 1-2 to battle. Get a pitch he can handle, hit it deep enough to left field to score Buck. And that was huge. You hate to, after the mistake that they made defensively, the Orioles, to allow both runners to move up. If you come out of that situation without a run, it's kind of a letdown.
So Buck able to take advantage of that, and the lineup is turned over to the top for Travis Snider. Snider walked, stole, and scored in the first. High to the left side. And Dino and Esturus are there, so too is PA, but it will be Esturus that calls them all off to complete the inning, but not before the Blue Jays add one more and retake the lead 2-1.
You would have to say they have dominated the Orioles this year. 14 wins. The Orioles with just 3. They've dominated it. Pitching department, hitting, and look at the difference in the runs total. 49 for the Orioles, 88 for the Jays.
The Orioles 8 home runs in the season series against the Blue Jays. Jose Bautista alone has 9 against Baltimore.
Well, the Jays out-homer the world, so that's not surprising. They hit more home runs than anybody.
Cesar Astures becomes a free agent at season's end, but has really caught the attention of Buck Showalter, and does so again here with a base hit through the right side.
Second baseman, number 1, Ryan Roberts.
Leadoff single for former Blue Jay Cesar Astures. Back to the top of the order for Baltimore, and Brian Roberts. Roberts was picked between the first and second rounds of the 1999 draft as a result of the compensation Baltimore was given when Roberto Alomar left the O's to sign with Cleveland. And he has been a wonderful find. Solid second base, good speed, great at the top of the order. Switch hitter. Brings a lot of different elements to this Baltimore team. Throw over to check his Astures. Astures has 11 steals this year. He's been caught 5 times. Outside of Robertson, but in there for a strike. He's now behind 0-2.
Well, you talk about the speed of Roberts and the significance of having him at the top of the lineup. You go back to his first full season, 04 in Baltimore. He stole 29 bases, 05, 27, and 36, 50, 40, and 30 last year.
He's been hampered by injuries this year, and a wave at the Markham offering, and Roberts strikes out. It's the fourth of the afternoon for Markham.
Struck him out with a fastball in his first at bat, and that looked like just another good two-seam fastball with some run to it, and gets him to chase off the plate. That's something you don't see Roberts do an awful lot. He's usually pretty patient. Usually, again, makes you get him out in the strike zone. But here's his nemesis. Lined out in his first at bat today, hit a ball hard to third baseman.
Markham starts him in this time, but misses low. How important is it, Rance, for Markham to establish that he'll go inside, knowing that Markham's such a good hitter away?
Well, with Markakis, it's probably more critical tthan any other hitter in the lineup.
Goes the other way this time. Travis Snyder running towards the line will track it down. Both outs made by Markakis to the left side.
Well, he tried to go in, and he didn't get it where he wanted to, but he got it in enough that it forced him to inside out the ball just a little bit. And although he hit it fairly well, was not able to really drive it. But you could tell by that swing and that pitch location, if that ball ends up about 3 more inches away from Markakis, he might have really driven it hard. Just not able to get completely extended.
That brings Ty Wigginton to the plate. 22 home runs in the season. Hotly rumored to have been traded at the deadline, but the Orioles so impressed with his play, his leadership abilities, that he remains with the club. Becomes a free agent at season's end as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Ty Wigginton.
Don't know if he'll stay in Baltimore, but most certainly with the right ball club, he's a nice fit because he is versatile. He can play more than one position, and he a pretty good hitter with some pop.
Big cut there, and Markham able to get him to swing through it.
If the Orioles are, if they're in that rebuilding mode and looking to move forward in that sense, it may not be someone that is a fit for your ball club at this time going into next year, but most certainly is going to have a job somewhere in baseball. Be a nice addition.
Just misses to Wigginton.
And he's had some experience coming off the bench in his career, pinch hitting, so he adds that dimension also. And it's always nice when you can go to a guy off the bench that has a chance to hit the ball out of the ballpark late in the game.
Andy MacPhail not wowed by any of the offers at the trade deadline, and Baltimore happy to keep Wigginton in the lineup. Aside from his versatility playing different positions, his hitting some pretty important spots in the 3-hole and the 4-hole for Buck Showalter and Dave Tremblay and Juan Samuel. Hit on the ground, and Encarnacion to go the easy way. He'll makes like a first baseman, and Isturis is forced out. Sean Markham sailing along here at the Rogers Center.
We own Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Bottom of the third inning here at the Rogers Center. Aaron Hill to lead it off. The Blue Jays ahead of Baltimore 2-1. Rick Vandenherk with his first American League start. And he had caught the eye of general manager Andy MacPhail for the last couple of years. And it was only at this year's trade deadline was he able to come to an agreement to acquire him from the Florida Marlins. MacPhail identified that the Marlins had such a plethora of good young starting pitchers and felt that maybe this guy would be expendable, and so really targeted him and finally able to get that deal done with Will Ullman going to Florida. 1-2 to Hill. Up.
Well, he has two things going for him, no doubt. He has a very good arm, and he's young, just 25 years old.
Runs it inside. Takes Hill off his feet.
Trying to go inside hard. But based upon what we've seen today, he's going to have to add something other than what he takes to the mound right now that has some good depth and tilt to it. such as maybe an overhand curveball, or figure out a way to make that slider a little sharper with more break to it, and get that changeup that he throws on occasion to at least move a little bit. It's pretty straight. Everything right now is pretty much straight.
Up there from Aaron Hill, who strikes out for the second time in this game, third of the afternoon for Vandenberg.
And it's just the fact that he changed speeds, the difference in the speed of the fastball and the slider.
That brings the Major League leader in home runs to the plate, Jose Bautista. First pitch swinging. Bautista went 0 for 5 yesterday, and that's only happened twice all season long. Both times against Baltimore, a team in which he has hit 9 home runs against. And here he's hit. So Vandenberg comes inside. Bautista is hit. The fans don't like it, and Bautista takes his base.
So the first pitch was off speed, and now you're trying to come back in hard, and it just gets away from him. He almost hit Aaron Hill trying to come in on him in the previous at bat. But when you've hit 52 home runs and as many against the same club as Bautista has hit against the Orioles, it's only natural that sometimes you feel like it's intentional.
The second hit batsman of the season for Vandenberg, although limited work. 1 1/3 with Florida in the National League. 12 1/3 with Baltimore coming into this start. Huge lead for Bautista on that first pitch. He's way out there again.
Well, sometimes you get that big lead for something other than intending to run. You want to extend it out there to force a throw over it, entice the pitcher to throw over, so you can get a look at his move and how quick he is, or see if maybe you can pick something up.
Quick tag there by Wigginton. Bautista has that way about him, that competitiveness. Hey, you hit me, I'll try and take a base on you. Not going anywhere, and the distraction forces a pitch up to Wells to move the count to 2-0. Vandenberg comes from some pretty good bloodlines. His father, Wim, runs a baseball academy in the Netherlands, so he had a bit of a leg up on the competition there. Wells, left field, Felix PA. Moving in and makes the catch.
First baseman, number 35.
2 down for Lyle Overbay. With his 20th home run of the season yesterday, it now gives the Blue Jays 5 20-plus home run hitters in the lineup, the most they've had since 2000, when 7 of them had 20 or more. Manager Cito Gaston joking with Overbay before that at bat in the 11th and said, hey, don't be afraid to get up there and hit your 20th. Sure enough, Overbay took the advice, did just that, a walk-off win for the Blue Jays. First pitch misses away. Overbay considering free agency. And at the end of this year, his contract will expire, and for the first time in his career, he'll become a free agent. Hit hard to right center field. Running back to get it is Markakis. It will one-hop the wall. Good speed for Jose Bautista. He'll score easily on the Lyle Overbay RBI double. Toronto leads it 3-1.
Overbay gets a fastball up and out over the plate, drives it deep to right center. And fortunate for the Jays, looked like the ball might bounce over the fence. If that happens, Bautista's going to be forced to stop at third, or at least have to return to third, but the ball stays in the ballpark, and at that point you know he's going to score easily. That ball hits that turf out there and it bounces over the fence, and it ended up costing you a run.
John Buck, first pitch swinging. Adam Jones drifts over into center field and makes the catch. The inning is over, but the Blue Jays working on the picket fence right now. One in the first, second, and third, and now leading 3-1. Found down the right field line. It's the TD Canada Trust Comfort Zone. Guests of TD Canada Trust enjoying those seats on a beautiful fall afternoon here at the Rogers Centre. Witnessing a 3-1 lead as the Blue Jays look to sweep this series and improve to 15-3 over Baltimore in the season series. Sean Markham out to work the fourth. He has struck out 4. He's allowed just 2 hits. Some interesting fans in attendance here today. Looks like someone raided your closet, Brant, says Luke Scott is hit by a pitch to lead off the fourth.
I'm not so sure that this wasn't intentional. But usually if you're going to retaliate, you get the first 2 hitters out in an inning and maybe do it after 2 outs. But it appears to be nothing more than a pitch that he tried to go inside with, and it just got away from him. A little too far in.
And now Markham will have to deal with PA, who swings at the first pitch. Travis Snyder and Vernon Wells there, but it'll be Snyder who calls him off.
You know, sometimes you just go off of what's happened previous, and of course Bautista gets hit, and then the leadoff hitter the next inning for the Orioles get hit. Sometimes there's no intention, but it's just the way that it looks, the way it played out, leads you to think sometimes that that's the case.
And at times we've talked about and seen Markham here in some of his later starts start to try and establish inside. He knows he doesn't have the best fastball. He knows he doesn't have the best stuff on the staff. But he is a marvelous competitor. And has become a leader on this staff here for the Blue Jays. First pitch to Jones is in there for a strike. Adam Jones singled, stole, and then reached on the throwing error by Buck before scoring on the Matt Wieters sac fly in the second inning. That's the lone run in this game scored by Baltimore. Talented young man, Adam Jones. And that is a trade that has really worked out well for Baltimore. Eric Bedard going the other way. He hasn't seen much time since going to Seattle. Chris Tillman coming over that deal, in that deal. And Jones goes back up the middle. Second hit of the day for Adam Jones.
And he continues to swing a hot bat. Adam Jones is a young player that sometime in the future, if he continues to work hard and he wants to be the best he can be, most certainly is a 30 home run, 100 RBI type player. Definitely has those types of skills.
All the tools. What's called a 5-tool player. Adam Jones possesses them all. At Wieters, looks at the first pitch from Markham, up and away. Really starting to learn to become a leader when it comes to dealing with the pitching staff. Working hard on getting to know the hitters. He's had the opportunity to catch some of these young pitchers in the minors in the past. Earlier this year, a bit of a run-in or a confrontation, if you will, with Jeremy Guthrie, feeling that he didn't appreciate his pitch selection in a game against New York earlier this year in June, and the two ironed things out. But just going to show how Wieters' leadership is starting to come to the fore, which is extremely important to have as a catcher, as you see John Buck go to the mound. JP Arencibia was also selected in the first round of that 2007 draft. Blue Jays took him 21st overall. An historic debut back on the 7th of August against the Tampa Bay Rays. 4 for 5, a couple of home runs in that game. Good place to start when building a team. Start from behind the plate, you work up the middle. Whatever Buck said there worked, because at 3-0 he gets Wieters to swing through the first strike of the at-bat. Sean Markham has really emerged as a leader of this Blue Jay staff. He is the elder statesman. He considers himself a bulldog out there on the mound, and with those traits, feels like he can be the guy to lead this staff. Wieters, right field, and this one will land just foul.
They mentioned JP Arencibia. What was impressive in his last start on Thursday, catching Sean Hill. Throughout that entire ball game, he did a great job. You didn't see the pitching staff, because you got 4 shutout innings out of the veteran bullpen as well that day. You didn't see a lot of, oftentimes, him being shaken off with his pitch selection. He seemed to be in very good rhythm and on the same page with all 5 pitchers that afternoon. He did a very, very nice job. In other words, you didn't notice him, and that's always a good thing when you're on the same page with the staff.
And for a guy who's known for his offensive prowess, a tough assignment in facing King Felix Hernandez in that game. Hit by Wieters, hard to right field. Jose Bautista running back. He's on his horse at the track, makes the catch, turns and fires to McDonald, and the relay will not be made as Luke Scott slides into third safely. But a good running catch by Jose Bautista, who continues to shine in right field.
Another excellent jump and very good route to the baseball, and he's able to corral it. And quickly back into the infield, and a nice job of base running by Luke Scott. He gets out, not sure if it's going to be caught. Once he realizes he's going to make the catch, he hustles back, tags up, moves over to third. Nice job of base running.
He knew he had to boogie. That throw got into McDonald, who had second thoughts about throwing that ball.
Now that arm strength of Bautista, he got it back into the infield quickly. But a wise decision, because Scott was definitely going to be safe at third. No need to risk a throw.
2 down for Robert Andino. You know, Rance, when it comes to Bautista, I think Lyle Overbay had great commentary on him after that catch and double play yesterday. He said his ability to go and cut balls off in the gap, so oftentimes it will hold a hitter to a single and keep that double play intact. And that's something that you can't score, you can't really quantify, but it only comes to fruition if and when the double play is turned.
It's not something that shows up in the stats. It's not something that's a statistic, but because of his arm strength, when he cuts the ball off, it forces a lot of runners to shut down. And again, it's an excellent point. You keep that double play in order. You keep that runner from moving into second base into scoring position, puts the offense to where they have to get 2 more hits in an inning, oftentimes to score a run. That's why there's always a lot of talk about the importance of defense, and it's the great plays that get noticed, the double plays, but it's little things oftentimes that prevents a runner from taking an extra base that are the difference in a game.
And it's just, for Bautista, it's hard to tell whether he's better in third or better in right field. Plays both positions so well. 1-2 pitch to Andino. Hit on the ground. Encarnacion picks it up and goes the easy way once again. So Sean Markham bends here in the fourth but doesn't break, and the Blue Jays continue to lead. Plus Blu-ray player. Quatron, it's 4 colors, not 3. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. That's www.hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. We move to the bottom of the 4th inning here at the Rogers Center. Sam Cosentino with Rance Mulliniks on the final afternoon game of the home portion of the schedule for the Blue Jays. They lead at 3-1 over Baltimore, having scored 1 in each of the first 3 innings. Adam Lind looking to add to his numbers here. It's been a season of adjustments and readjustments, and an up and down season for Lind, at one point with a career high 14-game hit streak. But it's tough, Rance, that at times you can be held to your own standards. And with the year he had last year, people expecting him to repeat or exceed those numbers, it just hasn't happened for Lind here in 2010.
Just has not been consistent the entire season. He's had times when he swung the bat very well, but has just not been able to, day in, day out, maintain that good rhythm at the plate. And you're right, you go out and you have a big year and people expect you to do it again. And sometimes maybe with a younger player, when you struggle a little early on in the season, you start to press because you know that there is that expectation, and you want to prove that it wasn't just, a one-time year for you.
Quite a year last year. 35 home runs, 114 driven in for Lind. But you know, Rance, you look at the numbers, 22 home runs right now. So there's the chance, an outside one, that he'll get to 25. He's already driven in 71. I mean, the production numbers still pretty good for Lind.
Well, overall, not bad, but most certainly not up to his expectations. And you know, that guy in the 3 spot oftentimes hasn't left much out there to drive in as well.
Hit hard. Roberts dives, has it go off of his glove and into shallow center field. So another base hit for Adam Lind.
Well, in his first at bat, didn't hit the ball hard right off the end of his bat, but the pitcher tried to backhand it. It changed directions. He ended up with an infield hit. And here, Roberts trying to dive and right off the end of his glove. It was a great effort. Looked like it bounced up that last hop and hit the heel. So far, Adam Lind having himself a pretty good day, 2 for 2.
And back up the middle on both occasions. That brings Edwin Encarnacion to the plate. Grounded out to third in his first at bat. Nice cool fall day here at the ballpark. The Blue Jays will wrap up the series with Baltimore and then begin a 3-game set against the Yankees tomorrow night. Hit in the air. Cesar Asturis waving everybody off and makes the catch. You know, Cito Gaston has said repeatedly, Rance, that hey, he wants this club to finish over 500. You and I touched on it a little bit yesterday. And thinking maybe that once that mark is achieved, that we'll start to see some of the younger players, be it in the bullpen or the JP Arancibias. But Cito said today, well, we also have a responsibility for the integrity of the game to throw as good a lineup as possible out there against the likes of New York, still trying to win an American League East Division title, and against the likes of Minnesota.
They most certainly, in the case of the Yankees, can determine if they win the division or possibly the wild card. And of course, against the Minnesota Twins, at this point, they're playing for home field advantage, trying to finish with that best record in the American League. So there's a lot of things at stake, and make no mistake about it. You go into that postseason, it's nice to have that home field advantage. So it's very, very important to the Minnesota Twins. Still a lot to play for.
Let me throw something else your way as McDonald looks at the pitch away. Going into play today, Boston trails the Yankees by 5.5 for the wild card. They'll play tonight in the night game. Should Boston win that game, it's 4.5. Yes, with 7 games to go, still a lot.
People management is a gift in itself. It is. Well, that's the optimism, right, that we have to hold, right? Because you talk about resilient, well, what were they saying? I mean, it was this Oprah was on his, they had the guy who started
$100 million freaking dollars. How bad are they?
Like that. One school that I think is I wouldn't do it. I'd spread it out more. Because you never know how it's going to be managed.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I remember the public school system was getting $550. All three of them kids to a private school. They were given to a but they were in the private school system getting an incredibly superior education for a third of the money.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, where is the money going in the public school system? Why is it so bad? Why can you go? Where there's a disconnect I'm not seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I kind of thought.
Did they finish in the private school system?
College.
And on the move, and Snyder strikes out to end the inning. Lynn's leadoff single is left there. The Blue Jays continue to lead. Wednesday, you have an opportunity to send the skipper a message. Come by section 127 tomorrow to record a farewell message to Cito Gaston. Your video could be used in the pregame tribute on Wednesday, the 29th. For tickets, check out BlueJays.com, most Rogers Plus locations, or call 416-341-1234. Cito Gaston's departure leaves a huge hole managerial-wise for Alex Anthopoulos, who, according to some reports, has already started interviewing some would-be candidates. And that list, as Alex has mentioned on a couple of occasions, it's long, and it's one that's been really taking up all of his time.
Needless to say, it's critical, and it's not like you have the whole winter to make the decision. Probably need to make that decision, have the manager in place, if not during the World Series, immediately after, because then things start to happen. And you most certainly need your manager on board to be involved.
Cesar Astura struck out by Sean Markham, 5th of the afternoon for the Jays righty.
In the decision making. Well, that great changeup, which is the bread and butter for Sean Markham, you get a look at the grip there and look at this movement down and away. And you just keep reaching and reaching, and you can't quite reach out there and get a piece of it. Well, he has great movement with the changeup.
Such great command to that changeup, and throws a couple of different versions of it. Really is bread and butter. And you know, it's funny, Rance, I talked to him earlier this year, and I asked him to define what he thought the other pitchers were all about. Ryan Roberts lifts this ball to right field. Jose Bautista fighting the sun with the glove and the glasses. Records the second out. Then he talked about Brandon Morrow's got great stuff, and Ricky Romero, you know, he's a real competitor out there with fantastic stuff and great potential and ability. Same thing about Brett Cecil. And when asked to comment on himself, he said, well, my stuff is below average, but I'm a bulldog. I'm going to go out there and just try and win you the game on grit, heart, and determination. And try and use that changeup effectively. And I think, you know, when you're a guy who doesn't overpower hitters, that's the mentality you have to have. Here's his kryptonite. One hopper to John McDonald, the shortstop. Picks and flicks, and that's it. A 1-2-3 inning for Sean Markham. He needs just 8 pitches to retire the Orioles in the top of the 5th. At the half inning, Blue Jays players and coaches made their way out in front of the dugout to salute the fans for their support. What has been a resurgent season in franchise history. Bullpen guys also making their way off their respective perches and seats and applauding the fans. Pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. Alfredo Simon comes in to replace Rick Vandenherk.
Alfredo Simon appearing in his 49th game here this afternoon. 49 innings of work. He has struck out 37.
When Mike Gonzalez went down with injury and Jim Johnson struggled in the closer's role, Simon filled in admirably, saving 17 of 21 games. Foul to the right side. Wigginton boogieing over and in front of the photo dugout. Takes the first out of the inning.
Nice play by Wigginton. Of course, he was shaded over towards second base with Hill, the hitter, and he had a long way to go, and he had to contend with the camera well. Nice running catch.
Jose Bautista was hit by a pitch in his last plate appearance, but scored a run on the Lyle Overbay double. Bautista 0 for his last 6. Up and in from Alfredo Simon. The fans very protective of their 52 home run hitter. 2-0, and this one hits it. And it got the ump too, and Simon has been tossed. Alfredo Simon tossed from this game. Buck Showalter has to go to the pen. And after being hit by a pitch in his last plate appearance, Bautista hit again, this time by Simon, and Simon gets the heave-ho. Not much of an argument from anybody, really. I mean, Simon didn't really contest it. Buck Showalter makes a slow walkout now, more for the pitching change than anything else.
Well, the catcher had set up outside, and none of this makes any sense. I mean, sometimes you just have to go off the way it looks. And, of course, he's most certainly worn out this Orioles staff twice in a row.
Bautista hit a pair of home runs Friday night to give him 52. Went 0 for 5 yesterday. Flied out to left in his first at bat in this game, and then consecutive hit by pitches. And we'll have a pitching change here. It'll be Matt Albers who comes in.
That's location away.
Fastball away, and Simon didn't heed the suggestion by his catcher Wieters. Well, an awfully short outing for Alfredo Simon. Bautista looks okay. We're back with more after this.
Five and 3 on the season. He's pitched in 60 ball games. And, of course, he'll be given as much time as he needs to get warmed up, since he was not up and throwing in the bullpen. And Simon ejected out of the game for hitting Bautista, giving up 72 hits and 72 and a third innings of work.
That workload has him ranked 3rd in the American League, the 72 in the 3rd innings for relief pitchers. So he has worked often and has had a pretty successful run of late. His last 25 appearances, a 3.21 ERA for Matt Albers. So some final words of advice from catcher Matt Wieters to Albers. Recap the inning for you. Aaron Hill led it off. He fouled out to Ty Wigginton to lead off the inning. It was Alfredo Simon who came in to start the inning, and against Jose Bautista, he ran the ball inside, hit Bautista. Bill Welke, that is, the home plate umpire, immediately tossed Simon from this game, forcing Buck Showalter to make a last-second call to bring Matt Albers in, and that's where we stand right now. One out here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, if that was intentional from Simon in that last at-bat to Bautista, it was absolutely uncalled for. There was no reason in that situation to hit him. He's already been hit once, and it's not like when he hits home runs, he stands around and shows people up. I mean, he runs the ball out, plays hard.
And they've had success against him. 0 for his last 6. I mean, 0 for yesterday. And that the pitch from Vandenherk that hit him in the plate appearance previously was just trying to establish inside presence, but that one seemed to be a little more than that.
Well, the catcher set up outside, and it looked like Simon threw the ball right at him. I mean, for a big league pitcher to basically miss by 4 feet, 5 feet with a pitch.
Albers works to Wells, who swings through it.
All you're doing at that point is running the risk of somebody on your ball club getting hit. It looks like Buck Showalter has been ejected. Not sure, but unless there was a warning issued earlier that we missed.
After Bautista was hit in the 3rd by Rick Vandenherk, and I didn't see any warning issued at that time. At any rate, it's a 3-1 Blue Jays lead here in the bottom of the 5th.
Unless when he walked out to speak with the umpire, Showalter didn't appear to be animated.
Foul down the third base side by Vernon Wells.
But there's always two sides to that story. You know, the Orioles would say, "Nah, I wasn't throwing at him. It just got away." And of course, if you're over in the Blue Jays dugout, you're running a little warm right now because you feel it's definitely intentional.
Bautista with a chance to continue to make history for the Blue Jays. And so, especially the fans, very active on each occasion in which he was hit. Sean Markham hit Luke Scott in the top of the 4th inning. He was leading off the inning, so it didn't seem like the timing was such, but hey, you never know in these situations. Another check back to Bautista. After this series, Baltimore will travel south to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Hit on a hop. Historis, Roberts, Wigginton, double play. So Jose Bautista is erased as Wells hits into the double play to end the 5th. Baltimore here at the Rogers Center. Final afternoon game of the home portion of the schedule here in 2010. Toronto picked up runs in each of the first, second, and third. Baltimore, a lone run scored in the second inning. We Ty Wiggins in to face Sean Markham to lead it off in the top of the sixth. .75 driven in for the Orioles first baseman here this afternoon. He's 0 for 1. Walked in the first, hit into a fielder's choice in the third. Hit hard on the ground, Encarnacion to the backhand, and on the run, the throw with a one hop. And a good stretch there by Overbay.
Nice play by the third baseman, Encarnacion. A backhand, spin, quick snap throw, and the long, easy hop for Overbay to handle. Nice play. Different angle.
Now, it doesn't have quite the bounce that the old turf did, but this turf here, still when it's sunny out and the sun pounds down on it, it does become a little more bouncy, and that is what allowed Encarnacion to make that throw across. Luke Scott looks at the 0-1 pitch to even the count. Scott, one of the few hitters that's able to hit with the glasses on, the sunglasses on. Now, I know you use eyeglasses at times later in your career when you hit, but to hit with the sunglasses, you just don't see it all that often. Sean Markham in his 29 starts coming into this one had allowed more than 3 runs on only 7 occasions. Just a couple of blow-up games for Markham. He has handled Baltimore extremely well this year. He issues the leadoff walk to Scott.
Left fielder, number 18, Felix PA.
2-0 in 3 starts against Baltimore. We're just getting word now that indeed Buck Showalter was ejected when Alfredo Simon was tossed.
Hey, talking about Sean Markham, he has been very consistent for the entire season. This is his 30th start. In his previous 29, he has allowed more than 3 runs on only 7 occasions. So he's been very, very consistent.
First pitch swing for Felix Pie. He was very familiar to Baltimore GM Andy MacPhail. MacPhail drafted him in Chicago when the two were with the Cubs. PA is an interesting young player. And a guy who has good speed. We've seen him cover some good ground in the outfield. At times has shown some pop in the bat. But health has been a bit of an issue, especially for him this year. And on the DL in April, the 19th of April, came back on the 7th of July.
That he can run and has some big upside in terms of offense. If you put PA in left field, Jones in center, and Markakis in right, you've got an outfield that can cover an awful lot of ground.
Markham has him way out in front, and PA is now 0 for 3 in the afternoon.
Well, again, the changeup gets the swinging strikeout.
Strikeout number 6 for Sean Markham this afternoon. Jeff Datz, the bench coach, has now taken over the managerial duties for Buck Showalter. Talked a little bit about it yesterday, but one of the things that I so much appreciated about the hiring of Showalter is that he allowed the existing coaches to remain. And there are so many times when a new manager is hired that he wants to bring at least one of his own people along with him. And Showalter accepted the job and said, no, I'm going to work with the current coaching staff. We can evaluate or reevaluate, if you will, at the end of the year. This one yanked foul down the left side.
Well, Buck Showalter, with a wealth of experience, probably came into this situation right now. What he has really done since he's came on board, and most certainly will do the rest of the year, is evaluate personnel. And that's at all levels. And then decide, make some decisions in the offseason. If there are going to be some changes, do it at that time. And it's probably a wise decision. But he's also had enough time to evaluate that he's going to have a real good idea going into the offseason about where the changes need to take place.
The O's 29 and 20 since Showalter took over, as Jones fouls it off once again and remains behind in the count 0-2. (13 and 10) on the road under the guidance of Buck Showalter. And before he came onto the scene, the Orioles had won just 14 of 54 road games. So overall, their performance has steadily improved. In the dirt for John Buck. And it was interesting that when Showalter was hired, Andy MacPhail said, hey, I have a very specific criteria I have set out. And the people that we interview, those people need to meet that criteria. One of them was having to have been a big league manager in the past and having had success in the past. Buck Showalter obviously filling both of those. One-two pitch to Jones. Buck can't hang on, and the at-bat will continue. Baltimore really in a similar situation in Toronto in that they have a good young starting staff, some nice young players to build around, Jones being one of those. But a big off season ahead. And living life in the American League East isn't easy for anybody. Markham sets and works. Hit in the air towards the middle of the infield. John McDonald's got a pretty good beat on it and makes the catch. The inning is over. Luke Scott is stranded. The Blue Jays clinging on to a 3-1 lead. .4 Pacific on Rogers Sportsnet 1. The first of a 3-game set between Toronto and New York. Jose Bautista having words with Cito Gaston, probably discussing last hit by pitch. Cito maybe trying to get a feel from Jose as to whether or not he thought that was intentional or not. Bottom of the 6th inning for Lyle Overbay. Overbay has contributed with an RBI double, that back in the 3rd inning. He brought in Jose Bautista. At that point, the Blue Jays led it 2-1 and have since added one more to that lead. It's pretty hard to come by here this afternoon. The two teams have combined for just 7 of them. Baltimore with 3 rather. Toronto with 4 hits in this game. Fouled off by Overbay.
You know, Sam came across some interesting stats prior to today's game that relate to this date, September 26th. September 26, 1961, Roger Maris tied the Babe with number 60. In 1971, September 26th, Jim Palmer won his 20th that year to give the Orioles 4 20-game winners. And in 1981, a decade later, September 26th, Nolan Ryan became the first pitcher to pitch 5 no-hitters in the big leagues, no-hitting the Los Angeles Dodgers.
You see, Palmer was trying to one-up you there. He was looking in the Blue Jays guide to see what Rance Mullinax did on this date.
Not much. Showed up.
The pitcher, number 14, John Buck.
3-1 Toronto here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 1 down for John Buck. Cito Gaston has continuously mentioned that he'd like to get Buck to that 20 home run plateau. Buck has walked and scored in this game. Rance, we look at some of the hitters in this Blue Jay lineup. We've touched a little bit about John McDonald and his ability now to start to pull the ball and use the left side of the field. Jose Bautista, we have spoke volumes all season long about the year he's had under the tutelage of Dwayne Murphy and Cito Gaston, but John Buck has also been a benefactor of those teachings.
Yes, he has. And he's definitely taken advantage of some of the advice that's been passed along to him. And again, in his case, it was at times getting started too late and coming over from Kansas City. He said he'd always been taught and conditioned to try to hit the ball to right center in the opposite field.
And he tried it there. He keeps it fair. It goes off the glove of Wigginton. And Buck is aboard.
And he said, I came over here and they said, look, learn to get the bat head out front and drive the ball. You're a big, strong guy. You have the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Take advantage of your size and strength. But here he does go the other way, just inside the bag, kind of inside out with that swing. Looked like it hit right off the thumb of Wigginton.
Little cue ball shot for the big and powerful Buck. Adam Lind 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Albers misses away. Couple of singles, both balls hit right back up the middle. The first one off the glove of starting pitcher Rick Vandenberg, and the next one off the glove of Brian Roberts as he made a dive going towards the bag at second, just couldn't come up with it. And so a couple of base hits for Lind and 2 tries here this afternoon. Buck with his lead at first. Albers with a look and deals low. Plenty of action around the rest of Major League Baseball today. The race in the National League West continues to be tight. Colorado yesterday with a come-from-behind win as Lynn drives this ball to left. PA running towards the line. It'll drop down and it will make its way into the stands. And a lot of balls hit to left field today. Seemingly got caught up in the wind and slowed right down for Adam Lynn. No matter what it is, he'll take it.
Well, PA completely misjudged this ball from the get-go. It was hit off the end of the bat. He initially broke back, and then he never did read it correctly and try to close on it and recover. By the time he did, he had no chance. That was just a complete misplay. You see right here, he breaks back, then he tries to move in. No chance. He just misjudged that ball altogether.
Plenty of spin on the ball. Sends it into the seats for a ground rule double. It's the 31st double of the season for Adam Lynn, and the Blue Jays are back in business here in the 6th. Getting back to that National League West race, San Diego back on top. San Francisco drops that decision to Colorado last night, thanks to Troy Tulowitzki. 1-0 in there for a strike. Tulowitzki with 5 runs batted in, another home run yesterday. And for the month of September, has 15 home runs and 40 RBI.
That's insane, isn't it? There's still a week left.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that would take that over the course of a season. Inside to Encarnacion. The Atlanta Braves and Bobby Cox still in the mix. Cox with his 2,500th win yesterday.
Well, that
5-0 shutout. So congratulations to Bobby.
Over the past 3 or 4 weeks, that because of that, the San Diego Padres losing 10 consecutive games, that let both the Rockies and the Giants get back in it, and it has really been interesting since that point, and it looks like it's going to go right down to the wire.
And again, Albers goes inside. They'll check down to first base. Mike DeMuro is the first base umpire. He says that Encarnacion did not go, and the count moves full.
And how about the Rockies? I mean, it's kind of became a tradition for them in September to make a run.
2007 run, quite magical. Encarnacion reaches out, swing and a miss, and tagged for good measure. 2 down.
Well, after pounding him inside, goes back away with a breaking ball that's not even close, but it's Encarnacion to chase.
Albers has really been a stalwart out of that Baltimore pen. Just 61 appearances now. Over 72 innings pitched in a relief role. Some pretty good milestones that a lot of pitchers think about. I know the Blue Jays relievers are thinking along the same lines. And a broken bat where the barrel makes it right into the first row. And that is going to continue to be a hot button topic in Major League Baseball.
Here's a look at the replay, and say what you want and not to overreact, but Major League Baseball is going to have to do something because we've already had a very significant injury involving a broken bat, and something needs to be done. Figure out some way to coat the handle of the bat up to just below the level of the label, excuse me, maybe, and to prevent it from snapping in two like that. Something that would.
You know, Major League Baseball has already taken a lot of different measures, but it doesn't seem that it's been, or at least is good enough to this point. I mean, Tyler Colvin goes into the hospital. His season ends because he's hit with the shards of a bat. Almost punctured a hole in his chest. Several bats we've seen him play in this homestand. Back inside, and McDonald has to jump out of the way. Major League Baseball going back to 2008 said bat breakage is down 30%, another 15% last year, but still something that needs to be worked on.
It's not necessarily the number of bats that are being broken. It's how often when a hitter gets hit on the hands, how it snaps completely in two like that and the barrel goes flying somewhere. It's not so critical how often it's happened.
This one into center field. John McDonald's got himself a couple of RBI, a big turn. He'll try and stretch this single to a double sliding, and out at second base is John McDonald. But both runs come across to count. Buck and Lynn score. The Blue Jays increase their lead to 5-1 thanks to John McDonald.
Into right center that plates two and makes it a 4-run game now. Tried to stretch it into a double, but is thrown out at second base. And here he's talking to Jose Bautista. Not sure what that was all about, but nonetheless, huge at bat. Sean Markham has been outstanding again this afternoon, as he has been all year against the Orioles. 6 innings, just 3 hits, 6 strikeouts. Total of 89 pitches. He's been very efficient. John McDonald with 3 RBIs on the day. He has a sac fly and now a 2-run single.
So Matt Weeder steps in as McDonald gives the Jays a 5-1 lead. Markham has retired 8 of the last 9 Orioles hitters he's faced. Comes into this inning with now 91 pitches. Cito Gaston pretty much all season long has kept his starters right around that 100-pitch mark, so you'd have to think this would be the last inning here for Mark.
And here going to a 6-man rotation in September.
Reached out for by Wieters. Hit to second for Aaron Hill. Sean Markham with 6 strikeouts in the afternoon.
This one a fastball. Roberts leading off the game. Another fastball there, but he's done it with that great changeup on several occasions also. Another great changeup. And again to PA, which is his out pitch.
I'll give Markham 160 strikeouts on the season. Here in his 30th start. And Rance, as much as we've talked about how successful this starting staff has been, what's impressed me most as Andino lines this ball into center field for a base hit. What's impressed me most is the ability for these pitchers to take the ball every 5 days, or here in September every 6 or 7 days. Rarely missing a start.
Well, they've, for the most part, been healthy the entire season. And That's probably one of the reasons they go to the 6-man rotation every 6 days. They'll pitch in September, is to protect the arms a little bit. They know there's some wear and tear at this point. They've pitched a lot of innings. Want to protect them a little bit so that when you move forward in the future, going into next season, everyone is healthy. You know, you build a winner around your pitching staff, and most certainly it begins with the starters. If you keep them healthy, solid foundation there. Say a kid like Brabeck steps up next year, makes this rotation.
There'll be plenty of options, that's for sure. Cesar Asturis, the looper to short. John McDonald back on the run, makes the catch.
That's been the John McDonald show here this afternoon. He's been the offensive force, and this is not an easy play. A ball right over his left shoulder, and he's got to make a running catch. And he makes it look pretty routine, but not an easy play. The importance of defense can completely change a ball game or an inning around.
He's been fantastic defensively his whole career. Started to bring the bat around here this year. Brian Roberts looks at strike one from Markham. 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Markham has allowed just 4 hits, and going back to 2007, his .239 batter's average against is tied for the best in the American League with Justin Verlander. So hits awfully hard to come by, and with that pitch count getting up to 100 now, it's Sean Camp and David Percy who begin to get loose in the Jays' pen. Robert Andino's 1-out single remains at first. 0-2 to Brian Roberts, and Markham just misses away.
Hey, go back to John McDonald for a moment. I've had more than one team in this very division say, anytime you don't want John McDonald any longer, just let us know, because we would love to have him.
Well, he's loved by everybody here in Toronto, that's for sure. And first pitch thrown by Markham in this game. He has thrown 67 of those for strikes. Doing his best to try and get out of the 7th. And try and wash away his last outing, in which he went 5 1/3 in Boston, allowing 9 hits and 6 earned runs. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Markham finishes it off in style. A strikeout of Brian Roberts strands Andino, and the Blue Jays lead 5-1. And the handshake there from Bruce Walton, and then a little visit from Cito Gaston. So Sean Markham's afternoon is over. He goes 7 strong, striking out 7, allowing just 1 run on 4 hits.
David Hernandez will enter the ball game here in the bottom of the 7th for the Orioles. 8-8 on the season. He's worked 77 in the 3rd, 72 strikeouts.
Came into this year as one of the highly touted starters. And after a short time, Hernandez was moved to the bullpen. And now, when I talked to Andy MacPhail about Hernandez today, he said it'll be left up to the field staff to determine his future. Got off to a really good start out of the pen. Then suffered an ankle injury. Hasn't been quite the same since, but he definitely has some great qualities that would allow him to be successful in both roles. It's just a matter of determining where he best fits with this Baltimore team. Travis Snider is 0 for 2. He scored a run. Slap foul into the seats.
Snyder walked in the 1st inning, stole 2nd, and then scored on the single by Vernon Wells. He has since popped to short and struck out.
Breaking ball misses.
Not sure if that's a changeup or a split finger fastball. Doesn't appear to have the velocity to be a splitter, so be a changeup. Has some pretty good movement.
Just the 2nd time for Snyder to face Hernandez. 0 for 1 in the previous meeting. Snyder looking to improve. Just a young player, 1st-round pick. Line drive into left field for Travis Snyder. Snyder aboard.
Jammed him a little bit. Kind of hit that pitch around the label, but strong enough to muscle it over the head of the shortstop is Turris for his 1st hit this afternoon. And you would think now that the Orioles will pay a little bit more attention to Travis Snyder at first base.
With Aaron Hill hitting, it was Snyder who stole and eventually scored in the bottom of the 1st inning. That was just the 56th stolen base by the Blue Jays this year. Only Boston has fewer.
And that's something in the future that the Jays will need to address.
Hernandez works to Hill. Big cut there. General Manager Alex Anthopoulos has continuously stated throughout the course of this year that he wants to become more athletic. And highly touted 1st base prospect Brett Wallace was traded away for Anthony Gose, who they feel really has that athleticism that projects out here in the next couple of years at the big league level.
They need someone at the very top of the lineup that has the potential to steal around 40 bases, possibly even 50.
And the way the game is going, the resurgence in particular to details, pitching, defense, and speed are really starting to come to the fore.
If you look at the teams around baseball that will be in the postseason or are still in contention, for the most part, you'll see balance. You'll see a pretty good balance between power and team speed, especially speed at the top of the lineup. The exception is in the Western Division. You have the Padres, who really don't possess much power aside from their 1st baseman, Adrian Gonzalez. They do it with team speed, basically. And, of course, their ballpark, the ball doesn't carry well, so you're going to build your team somewhat a little bit more around that athletic element. And, of course, the San Francisco Giants, they don't necessarily beat you up every day with their offense. They have great pitching, of course, but aside from that, pretty much everybody else is very well balanced.
Snyder 1 foot on the turf. He's leaning. He's on his way. Aaron Hill hits this ball into center. Snyder can't find it. And now he has to hustle back quickly. Caught by Jones on a line back to first base. The stretch by Wigington and out. At first is Travis Snyder. The double play is completed. Fly ball to center and a great throw there by Adam Jones.
Well, first of all, the hitter has 2 strikes, and so you always should take a glance back, try to find the baseball. And if you can't find it here, look at the third base coach. Right there, he should have looked at the third base coach. He would have let him know where that ball was at, and he would have been able to retreat. He didn't. And he's doubled up. Boy, you got a chance to see the throwing arm of Adam Jones in center field. You don't see, very, very seldom you see a center fielder with that type of arm. That was on a line, 1 hop, right on the money.
We've seen Travis Snyder make a couple of mistakes here over the course of this year. It's a learning experience for a young player, and the one thing about Travis is that he'll get out there front and center and admit his mistakes and work on trying to improve on those areas. In the meantime, it's Jose Bautista down 1-2 to Hernandez with nobody on. Bautista hit by a pitch in his 2 previous plate appearances. Broken bat to Hopper to Cesar Asturis, and the throw across the diamond completes the inning. A double play from Adam Jones to Ty Wigington, a ground ball by Jose Bautista, and Hernandez gets out of the inning. Aaron Hill having words with Cito Gaston. Hill 0 for 4 on the day. He's been dealing with hamstring issues. As a result of that conversation, Hill out of the game. Mike McCoy comes in to play second. And the Blue Jays have also gone to the pen for Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp has been as good out of the bullpen this year as anybody for the Jays. He's worked in 67 games, a 2.97 ERA. And he has been a go-to guy, a workhorse.
First pitch to Markakis. McCoy retreats and makes the throw. 1 down.
Well, you know Aaron Hill hates to come out of the ball game, even though he had some hamstring problems. But Cito Gaston taking the time to explain to him what his thoughts are, maybe get some feedback from Aaron Hill. You know, when you're an everyday guy, and Aaron Hill is, and he's a great competitor, he does not want to come out of the ball game, and it's only natural that he's not going to be happy about it.
Of course, even here late in the season, he still set some personal goals. I talked to Aaron a little bit about that. That hey, average-wise, it hasn't been the season. He's fairly happy with his production numbers, considering the average is down. But there's an outside chance that, you know, maybe he gets to the 30 home run or hits 27 and gets the RBI totals up in that 70 range. And those are things he wants the opportunity to do. Maybe Cito Gaston's saying here that maybe the mental break is better for you. Just take the rest of the day off and go get him against the Yanks tomorrow.
And, you know, from the perspective of a player, it's easy for you to assume or take it a little personally and say, you know, that's a reflection on my ability. You think somebody else is better defensively to go out there and finish off a game, and it's only natural that, you know, you're not happy about that.
Hill 1 for his last 14, and that was his 25th home run hit in yesterday's game. Ty Wigginton line drive into center field. Sean Markham rebounds from a poor start in Boston, and pretty good afternoon.
Very good afternoon. 7 innings. He just gave up just the 4 hits, the 1 run. It was earned. 7 strikeouts. And he, again, as he has the entire season so far, he dominated this Orioles lineup. Had good command with the fastball to both sides of the plate, and an excellent changeup here this afternoon.
One hit batsman in there in the mix as well, as he hit Scott with a pitch in the 4th. And it's Scott who's up there now. 0 for 1, hit by pitch, a walk as well. Scott maintaining good numbers, hitting .284. Chopped foul. So it'll be Scott, PA on deck, and Jones should it get that far. Blue Jays hanging on to a 5-1 lead. They've out-hit Baltimore 8-5 in this game. The Blue Jays have homered in 14 straight home games. That's the longest stretch since 2003. And that streak is in jeopardy here. As for Baltimore, just looking for a sign of life here, and for whatever reason, this ballpark has not been kind to the Baltimore Orioles. They have lost 22 of the last 24 here at the Rogers Center.
Well, this year in particular, as you pointed out earlier, although it has been better as of late, they have really struggled on the road. So it really hasn't mattered where they have been outside of Baltimore. They have had a very difficult time this season.
And that mark has improved under the guidance of Buck Showalter. But still an area where the Baltimore Orioles are looking to do what the Blue Jays have done this year, and that's equal last year's win total. They need 3 wins to get that done here in this final week of the season. Sean Camp, who's an arbitration eligible player, not by much, but he still fits under that window. And so with him being such a huge part of the Blue Jays bullpen this year, see how it continues on. This ball gets by a diving Lyle Overbay into right field, and Baltimore putting something together here in the 8th.
Left fielder, number 18, Felix P.A.
Two aboard for Felix PA. As Rance mentioned earlier in the game, he does have some pop. 5 home runs for PA this year. Hit on the ground. Lyle Overbay picks it. They'll go to short to John McDonald. No way to complete the double play. But it does indeed keep the double play intact. Although that's second out of the inning here for the Blue Jays.
Overbay does this as well as any first baseman in baseball, is get that force out at second. He had to range towards the line, set himself, make a good, strong, accurate throw. And although the double play situation is not important now because there are 2 outs, in the event of a base hit, it can save a run. So it's critical. And he does that play. Seen him make that play many, many times. And I can't think of a first baseman, at least in the American League, that does it any better.
You know, Rance, I mean, there are obviously times when it will keep the double play intact, as he talked about Jose Bautista doing. But the thing about Overbay is it's clearly thought of before the pitch is made. And the second thing, there's no panic. I mean, that play was a little closer than it looked, but he rarely seems to panic when making that play.
Well, he knows the speed of the runner off of first base. He knows that Luke Scott's not real fast. And then the second thing that is the determining factor is how hard is the ball hit. And he's able to read that. He knows if the ball's not hit real hard, I'll have to make the backhand and go to the bag and just get the out at first base. But if it's hit fairly sharp, I'm going to have a chance to go to second. That's exactly what he does. And you're right, that's all thought out prior to the ball ever being put in play. All of your options that you have based upon speed of runner, where the ball's hit, and how hard it's hit.
It's just misses to Jones. And then again, you have the advantage of having a left-handed first baseman over there who makes that play a lot easier than a right-handed first baseman who would have to make the spin.
And you do keep the force out at second base. And of course, you've got excellent speed in Jones at the plate. So if an infielder has to move a little bit one way or the other, at least he does have the option of the force out.
Inside of Jones, they want to check the swing, but Mike DeMuro says no chance. And the count runs even at 2-2. Couple of hits for Jones in this game. He's also stolen a base. And he has scored the lone Baltimore run. On the move from first and hit right back up the middle. Run will come across to score, and advancing to third is PA. And so Rance, go figure, no sooner did we talk about Lyle Overbay taking that lead runner away, or at least the runner at second, he surely would have scored there. And instead, just one run comes across.
Well, just a high sinker, the ball up around the belt. It flattens out a little bit, and a hot hitter takes advantage of it.
Adam Jones drives in Baltimore's second run of the game. Cito Gaston will go to the pen. Jason Fraser will try and come in to close out the inning.
It's a Rogers double.
You watch last inning as Hill hits this ball into center. Snyder is decoyed by Cesar Astures, feigning the double play, and only when Snyder is able to realize that that ball's hit to center field does he go back, and by then it is too late and he is doubled off. So a good play by the middle infielders, which is what they're taught to do in a fly ball while the runner's on the move. Snyder doubled off. Here back in the here and now, it's Jason Fraser who comes in to try and close out the inning for Sean Kemp. Fraser appearing in his 67th game this year with a record of 3-4 and that sub-4 ERA.
6 innings worked, 63 strikeouts, and he'll face Matt Wieters to try to finish off the 8th inning here for the Jays. Well, one thing you have to say about the Baltimore Orioles in this series, it's been never say die. They have battled throughout the entire series. Here in the top of the 8th, they found themselves down by 4 runs, but they've picked up 1 and still an opportunity to pick up another.
Matt Wieters represents the game's tying run. The Blue Jays up 5-2 over Baltimore. 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. Sean Kemp came on, retired Markakis, and then gave up consecutive singles to Wigginton, Scott, and PA. Jones chipped in as well, and here we are with Matt Wieters and 2 down.
In a critical situation for the Blue Jays, if Frazier can retire Wieters, at worst you take a 3-run lead to the top of the 9th.
Frazier climbs the ladder, and Wieters did not go there.
Much more difficult to score 3 as opposed to 2. With 2, you get the one guy on, somebody runs into a ball and hits it out of the ballpark, and you have a tie game if the Orioles can add another run.
This has been an area of success for Frazier. He has allowed just 6 of 27 inherited runners to score. At 22%, one of the best in the American League. Frazier works. Wieters caught looking. Well, Baltimore gets a run, but Frazier is able to strand 2 more by striking out Matt Wieters looking.
Single to make the game comfortable for the Jays. That would put him ahead by 4. He's thrown out trying to stretch it into extra bases, but 3 RBIs on the day for John McDonald.
Bottom of the 8th inning, the Blue Jays up 5-2 over Baltimore. Vernon Wells leads it off. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI on the day to this point. David Hernandez back Good for his second inning of work. Wells, first pitch swinging. Fouls it out of play. Blue Jays will catch a bit of a break with New York and Boston playing a night game tonight. Nationally televised in the United States, and so they'll get in here awfully late, probably as late as 3 or 4 in the morning. Second pitch swinging for Wells, popped up to the middle of the infield. Cesar Sturris takes control.
First baseman, number 35,
And with one down, 5-hole hitter Lyle Overbay steps in. Overbay's 1 for 3 with an RBI double back in the 3rd inning. Hit on the ground. Diving and making a nice play at first is Wigginton, who feeds it to Hernandez. All smiles for Wigginton.
Oh, a nice play. The ball was hit sharp. To move to his left. Dive, catch it cleanly, and then a good feed to the pitcher covering. Time to set himself. It's a good play. Second time he's made a nice defensive play this afternoon. Made a nice running catch on a pop-up over here by the camera well.
2 down for John Buck. He too offers it the first pitch and does that 49% of the time. That's the most in all of baseball. But it's worked well for him this year to the tone of 18 home runs. This one hit into center field. It will drop in front of Adam Jones, and Buck keeps the inning alive.
His second hit on the afternoon. Had an infield single in his previous at bat. It's a breaking ball to his liking. He is an aggressive hitter. Doesn't walk very often. Doesn't take a lot of pitches.
See it, like it, hack at it. And Buck is the epitome of that theory. First pitch to Lind is a strike from Hernandez. Lind has had a fine afternoon. 3 for 3 with a run scored. Big cut there from Lind. He tried to add 2 to that total.
Boy, the importance of defense. We talk about it a lot, but his last hit, that double down the left field line, the ball was misplayed altogether by Felix Pié. And although the next hitter, Encarnacion, struck out, John McDonald got that big 2-out RBI single, which drove in 2 and made it 5-1 at the time. If he makes that catch, it's a different ballgame.
Just a 3-run game here. Lind a little tardy. And there's nobody getting loose in that Blue Jays bullpen, and so it looks as if Cito Gaston will stick with Jason Fraser here in the 9th to close it out. And again fouled off by Adam Lind.
Well, although Kevin Gregg had the day off yesterday, didn't have to pitch. You would think that he's well rested, but could be just a decision by Cito, but you never know. Maybe Kevin Gregg needs another day. There's lots of times there's things going on that we are never aware of. Don't know that that's the case, but sometimes it is. Guy needs another day, or maybe he's a little stiff, a little tender.
Friday night it was Gregg who threw 26 pitches, got into a bit of trouble, allowed a run to score, and then with 2 outs was lifted for Jesse Carlson to come in and close it out. And putting together a nice at bat here against Hernandez.
There are a lot of things that happen prior to the game that are discussed, who's available, who's not, that, you know, we covering the game are never aware of.
And the managers don't want to let you know what's going on if someone's not available. Hit hard to center field by Lynn. Adam Jones chases it down and at the track makes the catch. Boy, does he make it look easy. So a 5-2 lead will be left entrusted to Jason Fraser here in the ninth. Universal Canada. At the top of the ninth inning we go. Jason Fraser remains in the game to try and close it out. And Dino Isturis and Roberts scheduled. Familiar role for Fraser over his course of his career with the Blue Jays. Has been moved in and out of that closer's role. And here getting the opportunity to pick up the save. He started this season as the Blue Jays closer. A couple of rough outings in Texas to start the year. Shortly thereafter, Kevin Gregg moved into that role, and Fraser has done a fine job in the setup role, getting the opportunity here to try and close it out.
And he's been very sharp since he entered the ball game. The first hitter he faced, Matt Wieters, the first two pitches were fastballs right on the outside corner, knee high in perfect spot. Then he went up and out of the zone, and the last pitch he finished him off with, he wanted to go inside. He did, painted him right on the inside corner. And the first two pitches here to Andino were in perfect spots. One on the outside corner, one on the inside corner. So far, since entering the ball game, his command has been excellent.
Fouled off by Andino for Jason Fraser. He will become a free agent, and his name was bandied about at the trade deadline. Several people felt that the Blue Jays were going to make a lot of moves, but when you look at the body of work for Fraser in his career with the Blue Jays, it's been pretty good. 3 saves this year for Fraser, looking for number 4. Back up the middle. Mike McCoy picks it on the backhand, has the hop go right up into his hand and throws in time to get the speedy Andino.
Well, a nice play by Mike McCoy. His only option with the speed of Andino is he has to try to close on this as much as he can, which creates an in-between hop. It hits him on the heel, but fortunately for him, it bounces right up in front of his face, and he's able to barehand it and make the throw.
Little luck never hurt anyone, and McCoy takes advantage of it there. 1 down here in the top of the ninth.
And with the speed of Andino, he definitely couldn't afford to give ground to get the big hop, and he was not going to be able to throw him out.
Fraser last worked Friday night. 2 strikeouts in an inning. Gave up 1 hit. 4 of 5 first pitch strikes, and he has come out throwing strikes here in this appearance as well.
The only time it seems that Jason Frazier has a difficult time is when he doesn't have the command. Usually when he gets in trouble, he pitches himself into a little bit of trouble. Usually you can mix in a walk or two in that scenario. But when he's sharp with his command, with the type of stuff he possesses, he's tough.
Try and use that stuff and that command here to get Asturis. Ooh, just a little low and away.
But a great 0-2 pitch just off that corner. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't. Once in a while you'll get a hitter to expand the zone just a little bit, but 0-2, that's where you want to miss, just off that plate. Try to entice the hitter.
Similar pitch that has extended a little further away from Asturis, who displays a good eye, and now he's even the count of 2-2.
By 4, take 4. Ready 2? Take 2.
Fraser misses away now, and the count goes full.
Not that he wasn't trying to, but after he ran the count back 2-2, right there with that pitch was the one that you want to finish him off with, not run it to that 3-2 count. And you don't have a guy at the plate that's going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Make him put it in play.
And he does that this time around in the full count pitch. Mile over Ray for the second out of the inning. For Fraser, this marks his 67th appearance. That ties a career high, which he set with the Blue Jays back in 2005. And despite being his 67th appearance, he has fewer innings pitched than appearances. So on occasion, he's been called in a situation to get a certain hitter out. There's been some great consistency in that Blue Jays bullpen. All the appearances made by Downs, Fraser, Camp, Kevin Gregg. One 0 to Roberts. Good swing there.
The Orioles need base runners. Thought that Ryan Roberts might consider trying to bunt for a base hit. Encarnacion is playing well back. All he had to do is bunt it firm enough to make sure the pitcher couldn't make a play on it. He'd have himself an easy base hit. And at this point, the Orioles just need somebody to get aboard, keep this inning alive any way they can.
Surely would love the opportunity for their big boppers to get up here. Wigginton and Scott hit 3 and 4, but there's a little ways to get there yet. Roberts doing his best to try and extend the inning and extend the game. Keika's hoping to get an opportunity. Fans on their feet. For the full count pitch from Jason Fraser. This is the final afternoon game in the home portion of the schedule. The Blue Jays looking to complete the sweep. 3-2 pitch. Lifted in the air to left. Travis Snyder back and makes the catch. The Blue Jays win for the 15th time in 18 tries against Baltimore this year. Extend their home winning streak against the Orioles to 15 with a 5-2 win.
Another outstanding performance against the Orioles by the starter here this afternoon, Sean Markham. He goes 7 innings, gives up just the 1 run. The bullpen did a nice job overall to back that up. Frazier closes it out. And how about John McDonald with 3 RBIs, the offensive hero here this afternoon?
The difference in this game, Johnny Mack, the Blue Jays win it 5-2. For Rance Molinex, our entire Sportsnet crew, I'm Sam Cosentino. Make sure you stay tuned. It's the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks next on Rogers Sportsnet 1.